From excessive SpaceX rocket explosions to fumbled attempts to affect geopolitics, here are some of Elon Musk's least talked about tech failures. One of Elon Musk's earliest successes came with the financial services website X.com, which he founded in 1999 by investing the money he'd made from his first company, Zip2, after it was purchased by Compaq. The company eventually merged with tech vampire Peter Thiel's Confinity, which offered a money transfer service called PayPal, but the combined venture retained the name X.com. There were stormy seas ahead for Musk. In September 2000, a collection of employees at PayPal, dissatisfied with Musk's leadership, threatened to resign if Musk didn't step down as CEO. Executives delivered a vote of no confidence to the board of X.com, forcing Musk out and replacing him with Thiel. After Musk's departure, the company was renamed PayPal, and Thiel would later go on to sell it to eBay for $1.5 billion. It was a rough early blow for the entrepreneur. However, in the coming years, it would barely be remembered as a speed bump on his road to riches. In 2019, Forbes found that Tesla had been investigated by California OSHA 24 times between 2014 and 2018. And was fined for 54 violations. One worker lost part of a finger after his glove was caught in a torque gun. There were 8 investigations at Tesla's Tennessee factory, with 5 violations found. And the factory in Kentucky was investigated 13 times, with 4 violations issued. In 2020, the Los Angeles Times reported that Tesla had covered up hundreds of factory-related injuries since 2015. Then, a federal jury ruled in 2021 that Tesla must pay out $137 million to a black contract worker who was systematically discriminated against inside the company. The staggering amount was eventually cut to $15 million by a federal judge in early 2022. And in July of that year, 15 black employees, both former and current, filed a lawsuit alleging they were racially harassed with slurs, compared to chattel slaves, and assigned to the most physically exhausting labor while being passed over for promotions. Given Elon Musk's iron grip over his companies, the buck stops with him. When factories are this chaotic, is it really surprising we have yet to see deliveries of the Tesla Roadster or Cybertruck?
Oh my God. Well, maybe that was a little too hard.
After Tesla's success in the years after Elon Musk bought his way into the company, the billionaire's next venture left the road behind in favor of the stars. SpaceX, the private Musk-controlled spacecraft and satellite manufacturer, has become one of the leaders in space technology, and was even the first private company to develop a liquid propellant rocket that achieved Earth orbit when it launched the Falcon 1 in 2008. But despite its success, a surprising number of SpaceX rockets have gone down in flames. According to the New York Post, at least 10 rockets have combusted between 2014 and 2021.
That was perfect.
Indeed, many of SpaceX's rockets have become nothing more than incredibly expensive fireworks, such as a Falcon 9 that exploded over the Atlantic Ocean in 2015, costing the company an estimated $112 million, according to Futurism. Another Falcon 9 carrying cargo bound for the International Space Station combusted 2 minutes after liftoff that same year. And among the most spectacular failures was a Falcon 9 rocket that exploded on the launch pad. A failure so mind-boggling to Musk that he investigated it as a case of sabotage, according to the Washington Post. At times, these technological failures can even present a threat to those of us who are terrestrially bound. According to The Guardian, in August 2022, 2 Australian farmers found debris from a SpaceX crash on their respective properties. Musk has always considered himself a bit of a troll, and nothing tickles his posting syndrome more than a weed joke. But in 2018, Musk's stoner antics backfired when he made what may just be the world's costliest 420 joke. On Twitter, the billionaire posted,
"Am considering taking Tesla private at 420. Funding secured."
Laughs were had, yucks were yucked, and then the Securities and Exchange Commission got involved. Musk's proposed share price may have been intended in jest, but he seemed serious about taking Tesla private. His announcement, which suggested a valuation 11% higher than the current trading price at that time, caused a sudden spike in Tesla's stock prices, and trading was halted by Nasdaq. The SEC charged him with civil securities fraud. Investors sued, and a judge ruled that Musk had made intentionally false statements. He had been lying to begin with. It wouldn't even be the last time he messed with Tesla stock. In 2019, Musk settled with the SEC, landing on an arrangement that included personally paying $20 million and agreeing to have any tweets about Tesla vetted by the company's legal counsel before posting them, as reported by Reuters. Though it was regarded as a slap on the wrist by experts, Musk filed to kill the SEC deal in 2022, accusing the regulating body of violating his free speech. Clearly, Musk is still chafing against the consent decree. But if there's one thing American business people know, it's that regulators never take kindly to defrauding investors. While many of Elon Musk's technological failures represent setbacks for his companies or for himself personally, others have had much more dire consequences. Nothing is more representative of that fact than the staggering number of Tesla cars that have been involved in crashes while in autopilot mode. Between June 2021 and June 2022, a whopping 273 Teslas were involved in crashes while in autopilot mode. These account for almost 70% of crashes that involve driver assistance systems, according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
We are seeing this as a real growing problem, and Tesla is leading the way.
Tesla's Autopilot is, despite what its name suggests, not meant to drive the car fully autonomously. Rather, it's a suite of driver-assisted features that help the vehicle maintain speed, make safe lane switches, and the like. Although a beta of full self-driving mode is available on some models, it is not reliable enough to allow drivers to divert their attention from the road. But that doesn't stop some Tesla drivers from doing so anyway, perhaps trusting Musk's exaggerated promises about the technology. When that technology fails, the results can be deadly, which is probably why other auto manufacturers avoid such hyperbole about their own vehicles' self-driving capabilities. Russia's invasion of Ukraine dominated the 2022 news cycle, and Elon Musk plays a surprisingly key role in the ongoing conflict. Starlink satellites provided by SpaceX form the backbone of Ukraine's communication network, helping its armed forces and civilians as Russia pummeled the country's ground infrastructure. The satellites were subsidized by the United States, even though SpaceX representatives have framed it as a charity operation. Aside from their invaluable role in Ukraine's communications, the besieged nation uses the satellites provided by Musk Company to photograph Russian military deployments, review damage done to its enemies' air bases, and even provide grim evidence of mass graves in Russian-occupied territory. In September 2022, the Russian delegation to the UN General Assembly released a statement promising that quasi-civilian infrastructure could be a legitimate target if Ukraine continues to use them, almost certainly referring to SpaceX's Starlink satellites, according to Futurism. But as dire as the situation was, it was about to escalate due to Musk's own actions. In October 2022, as the Russo-Ukrainian war raged on, Musk abruptly threatened to cease funding the use of Starlink satellites by Ukraine. Given the nation's heavy reliance on those satellites for its war efforts, such a move would have crippled Ukraine's defenses and provided a major tactical advantage to Russia. Even more shockingly, the threat seemed to be a response to a Ukrainian ambassador who insulted him on Twitter after Musk ran a Twitter poll suggesting the conflict be ended via a UN-supervised vote, and that the contested Crimea region remain part of Russia. Andrei Melnik, Ukraine's ambassador to Germany, told Musk, "F off is my very diplomatic reply to you." Shortly after threatening to cut Ukraine off from the Starlink network, Musk tweeted, "We're just following his recommendation." But only a day later, Musk rescinded his threat, promising to continue funding with a bitter tweet that read, "The hell with it. Even though Starlink is still losing money and other companies are getting billions of taxpayer dollars, we'll just keep funding Ukraine government for free." The New York Times speculated that Musk's about-face was in response to international rebuke for his threat, and noted that SpaceX only had donated 3,000 satellites to the Ukrainian effort, while the United States, the United Kingdom, and Poland footed the bill for almost 17,000. The incident was a bizarre instance of a tech company becoming mired in international geopolitics, and the world may never know how close Musk came to handing Russia its desired annexation of Ukraine.